And the good thing about green tea, it's a more natural source. It's more caffeine than a cup of coffee, which I see people like. When I first got into green tea, I was drinking a lot of it, and my eyes started twisting because I had way too much caffeine in my body. But obviously, like, I cut back. But I love green tea because it's a cleaner version of energy. It is a natural diuretic, as well as it has natural good properties to it. And so when people are like getting into different pre-workouts and stuff like that, I'm not going to say don't use pre-workout. Like, every now and then I use pre-workout, but it's also knowing, like what we were saying before, what you're putting in your body. You can make your own pre-workout. You can make natural pre-workouts. You can take whatever you want to put in, beta-alanine, buy them separately and mix them up and make your own pre-workout. But then you have like pre-workouts that aren't the best. They have an overload of caffeine, and they're not going to do you very well if you like take that every day. Because one thing that does suck on the health side is that caffeine and stimulants are a blood pressure kicker. So meaning like it will, over time of like a lot of use, raise your blood pressure. So knowing how to also cycle off or switch through pre-workouts, or maybe take a week. Just talking about supplements and point blank is nutrition comes first. Supplements should complement your nutrition. If you're going to choose,
hands down.
If you're going to choose to supplement, I'm not going to stop you. But the steps to supplementing are: 1, are you eating properly? Are you feeling properly? Because I'm going to tell you one thing. You can spend hundreds of dollars on supplements. You can do all this, and it'll be a waste of money if you're not eating properly. If you're not going to put the fuel in your body that it needs, it's not going to give you the effects that it wants. Supplements don't have necessary nutritional value. They have vitamins and different things and minerals and herbs and stuff. But if your body is not functioning the way it should, it's not going to hold on to those things. Yeah, it's not going to process
literally,
those things.
Supplementation is in its name.
It's a supplement. It's a replacement.
It's a replacement. It's just like when people go on these juicer diets, or when they go on a meal replacement diet via a protein shake.
Yeah.
It's literally a replacement. It's replacing what you're not naturally getting nutrition-wise, food-wise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I think boiling back to that is start with nutrition. Lead with nutrition. Am I getting proper nutrition? And am I getting a good source of protein? Am I getting a good source of carbohydrates? Am I getting a good source of fat? And I think even just breaking down macronutrients, carbs, fats, proteins, not even getting into like the micros, like sodium and all of that. But the point is each one of those macronutrients has a property in your body that is effective. I don't care what diet you're on, from carb cutting to fat cutting to whatever. Each of those carbs, fats, and proteins have something in your body that it does for your body naturally. And it has been for years and years and eons. And just to break that down specifically is I like to use like the metaphor, or like the imagery of, think of if you're cooking a piece of chicken, right? You want to consume that chicken. Well, first thing you got to do is like light the fire. The carbs are that fire, are like the gas to the fire that sparks to fuel the process of cooking and heat your body up and to cook the chicken. The chicken is the protein. But before you put the chicken in the pan, what do you put? You put oil, which is fat. In order to successfully cook that chicken, you're going to need oil, you're going to need heat, and you're going to need the protein itself. A lot of people fail to realize that they just consume a lot of protein. And what happens when you...
Oh, you got that meathead diet.
Yeah. Your body's only going to use so much. That's why someone that is not taking in a whole lot of protein can see a difference when they may not be getting one gram per pound yet. And that's
another reason. That's another reason why people don't understand why when you're pursuing bodybuilding, you have 4, 5, 6 meals a day versus, the typical 2 or 3 meals a day, bigger meals. Now you're not eating huge amounts of protein and then only absorbing 60% of it. Now you're eating a smaller amount of protein consistently throughout the day in order for you to maintain the amount of protein per meal.
Yeah. And I think one piece of logic that I can see and why the per servings and like protein and different things like that are so high is because people do consume so much at once and they lack on carbs and fats. So what happens is your body wants to use carbohydrates to burn the fuel, so that it can use the protein to recover and the fat to protect. Well, the problem is when you're lacking those other two, your body starts to use protein as the fuel instead of carbs. Now, the thing with that is you're consuming all this protein, but how much of your protein is actually going to protein synthesis and recovery versus fuel? Mm-hmm. So now you're actually depleting your body's recovery, and you're having to supplement more because you're not getting those proper amounts of nutrients in. So now you're reverting to supplementation. Now, if you would have started, and this is what blows my mind, is people will go through every loophole to lose weight, to gain weight, to do whatever, rather than just taking the most simplest route and doing what's been working for decades. And that's
since the caveman era.
Carbs, fat, protein. Mm-hmm. They grew their food, and I will say, like, with today's day and age, with the quality of the food and the food and like that we're getting through like GMO and processing and stuff like that, it's not the same quality as what they used to grow. You're listening to The Flex Project with Jordan Tatishi.
There's a lot of dedication and there's a lot of work and calculated efforts to create the success of being in bodybuilding.
The Flex Project with Jordan Tatishi. Hey guys, welcome to The Flex Project. It's Coach Jay, also known as Jordan Tatishi. On today's show, we have men's physique bodybuilder, certified nutrition and personal trainer, and Navy Command fitness leader on our show, Austin Petty. If you guys are not familiar with what a Navy Command fitness leader is, they are the one that is in charge of helping their command, their local command in the military, pass their physical readiness test, as well as be a source of experience and guidance to help those sailors that may be struggling with nutrition or resources for fitness as well. Austin, thank you so much for being on today's show.
No, thank you for having me.
I definitely appreciate you being here. What got you into bodybuilding?
I would say that, I had a little bit of a troubled childhood growing up, and both parents, they were heavy into drugs and stuff like that, and I'm not, a lot of people won't say it's hereditary or it's genetic, but I feel like addiction does run into the family, and I knew that if I was going to get addicted to something, I wanted to get addicted to something healthy. I wanted to get addicted to something that I can continue to do throughout my life. And to me, when I was growing up, it was skateboarding. And after high school, things changed. I got older. I started attending college. Started working, and I wanted to maintain an active lifestyle, and I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do. My grandfather actually brought me into the gym for the first time. He is actually a retired undersheriff of Tulare County, California, and in the 80s he set the bench press record for the police Olympics. And so he was all into the gym, and he brought me into the gym. I didn't know what I was doing, and it's just like boom, within a couple months I just fell in love with it. And like they say, it takes 21 days to start a habit or to kick a habit, and man, I tell you what, I was in that gym every day. I mean, twice a day. I didn't know what I was doing, but I just knew that I loved it. Yeah. And it was my addiction. It was my drug. And I definitely say, especially when it comes to people who also have addictive personalities, because I do. I'm not gonna sugarcoat. I definitely have an addictive personality. It's find your drug that is healthy, because every person in this world is going to be addicted to something. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's changed my life for the better, and it's helped educate me and definitely take me to the places I am today.
Yeah. I think everyone has something that they are passionate about and that they will continue to follow over time. And it is making whatever that thing is something that works well for you and that will give back to you and provide value in your life. And your personal experience of bodybuilding, kind of like, what has that road been like?
So October 10th, 2018 was my actual first NPC show.
Nice.
And I've always wanted to do a show. I was like, I love the fitness industry. I love, a lot of the fitness products. I love following transformation stories and things like that. And I knew it was something, I didn't know if I wanted to pursue it, but I knew that, hey, I'm going to knock it off my bucket list. I'm going to step on stage just to say I did it. And I got to be honest, I fell in love with it.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's been an awesome road. I've worked out for a couple of years now, and I just, I gotta say that, like, having the feeling to step on stage and to compete against several other guys who are trying to do the same thing as you. You go in there with a strong physique, and you go in there with the mindset of placing, for getting a trophy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, it's challenging because you have so many guys who want the same thing as you, and it's competitive, and it's fun. It really is, because you're like, all right, so this is the package I brought. That's the package he brought. What do I need to do to make my package better than his?
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, it's just, it's a highly competitive sport, but I tell you what, I mean, anybody and everybody backstage is super helpful, and it's like, you're all doing the same thing. Yeah. You're all in there, and it's like, it's very family oriented. So I would say that bodybuilding is like definitely not easy. It's a hard road, but at the same time, it is fun, exciting, and it's something that I want to continue to do. Yeah,
I think it's great to have a sense of community in whatever sport you do. I think we know CrossFit's popular, powerlifting, bodybuilding. One thing that's, creates that trend, group fitness classes, whatever it is the sense of having a community to support you when you are doing well or you may need help. I encourage anyone that feels like that they don't have a sense of community, they can always tap into me, tap into, Austin or guests or whoever's on the show, and reach out and talk about health, talk about fitness, because one trend and one thing that's the most important defining about the Flex Project is it's a project, and it's a part of all of us. We're all doing the same thing. We're trying to better ourselves. We're trying to become better physically, mentally, emotionally, and a part of that process is having community. So never feel like you're alone on that. Going back to you bodybuilding, I know you're in the military, so you're in the Navy right now. Like, what has the challenges been like with discipline and having to balance having a military schedule, which I know it's very can be very consistent and strenuous and inconsistent, and just having to be so flexible with what you're doing?
I gotta say, it has been a difficult road. Like I said, without a support system, it would probably be near impossible. But you also got to play a role, and I got to emphasize on this, there is a huge difference between motivation and dedication. You can be motivated to get your ass off the couch and go to the gym and work out, but then you get home, you're hungry, you're tired, you're like, well, I could cook this chicken breast and, this rice, the cookie cutter diet, or I could sit on the couch and call dominoes. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it plays a huge effect into things, because dedication is going to trump motivation hands down any day of the week. Mm-hmm. Because once you're dedicated, you have a set goal and you stick to it. Of course, there's going to be some slip-ups here and there, but if you want to pursue the process, dedication is always going to trump motivation. When it comes to pursuing bodybuilding in the military, like Jordan said, it's very strenuous. I'm actually active duty, stationed on a ship. I have the luck to be currently in the yards, which is where the ship is docked, and you have a lot of civilian contractors coming in and working on it for several months. So we're not pulling in and out at sea. So my diet has been a lot easier to maintain, because when you're out at sea, you can't pack 3 weeks of food unless you're cool with some of the cooks and they let you keep it in the fridge, but that's never going to happen. But like, having the opportunity to bring my meals to work has been significantly better. But I mean, like, at the same time, I get up at 5:30 every morning. I'm at work by 6:30, and it's usually from 6 to 4. So it's continuous throughout the day. And like I said, when you're dedicated, you got to remember, like, hey, it's a specific time of the day I need to eat in order to keep my body at standards. You need to balance your work schedule and your health, because you only have one body.
How would you say you prepare for going on underweight?
Yeah, Amazon. Amazon is like your best friend, and people sleep on Amazon. Amazon is the bee's knees, like protein bars, and you can order everything in bulk too. You can get your protein bars, you can get your pre-workout, you can get protein drinks, canned tuna, just like you said, and just stock up. And in order to maintain that calorie dense diet, you can eat like the rationed out portions on the mess decks, but then that when you go back to your the living spaces, that you'll have the opportunity to give your body the fuel it needs in order for you to maintain the physique you're shooting for, or a calorie dense diet in general while you pursue fitness and health.
Yeah. That is where I think supplementation does play a good part into it, is the fact that supplementation should complement your nutrition. So if you are in an area or in a source of time where nutrition may not be at its height, or to where you can really use it to the most benefit and to where you might need it, then supplementation like protein bars or whatever you might need in that sense, it does come into handy. And like we were saying before, the most important part is making sure you're researching like what you're putting in your body. Being in the military, or maybe say like you're traveling or doing something where you may not be at home where you can prepare your own meals and stuff like that, you might have to look for food that can cater to your diet as closely as possible. And that's being able to pick out like, okay, what's the leanest source of protein here? Or what is the most nutrient dense vegetable that has been the least manipulated out of all those things? And so for that, or what is the carb? Is it rice? Is it maybe sweet potatoes? Is it maybe it's the mac and cheese is the only thing I can get to? It may not be the best thing. I will say something is better than nothing, but obviously if you can get a better source of something, then go for it. But it might be the thing that you need, and then you might have to go into supplementation of like protein powder, protein bars, or creatine, or whatever you may need to supplement in your diet to get the nutrients that you need to get to your show or whatnot. That being said, I did want to go back to one thing you were saying too before, is dedication will always trump motivation. At the end of the day, I cannot agree more. And it's actually funny because in next week's episode, January 4th episode, we actually sit down and we talk about the difference between like wanting something and not wanting it, and the fact that motivation will come and go. And motivation comes and goes all the time.
It's like a heat wave.
Yeah. It's literally like it's a frequency. It's high, it's low, it's there, it's not.
Yeah, you get that ambition and be like, well, hell yeah, I'm gonna do it all today. And like I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm going to go grocery shopping. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go to the movies with my friends. You go to the gym, you're motivated, you work out, you go grocery shopping, get what you need. You get home, you get comfortable. You sit on the couch, you're like, wow. Boom, there goes your motivation right there. Now your friends are like, well, he's not coming out.
Yeah. It's being dedicated, and I think that even goes back to being a man or woman of your word. And if I'm going to say something, I'm going to do it. If I'm going to start it, I'm going to finish it. And I think having to take your health and wellness seriously is the same way. And the fact that dedication is on the good days, on the bad days, no matter what day you're showing up. And you are going to put into practice what you preach and what you show. And if there's anything that I can say is like, yeah, you can be motivated because you felt like personally convicted, or felt like you personally were attached to like an ad or a scene or something like sparked your interest and you were like, ooh, I want to try that out. I want to do that. Well, the difference between people that make it and are able to accomplish and finish like their programs or finish their workouts or continue to train long time and become very successful, whether you are a media mogul or a bodybuilder or a lawyer or whatever you do in your life, it's being dedicated. It's having the passion will rise and fall all the time. The motivation will rise and fall. People will inspire you, and then there'll be times where you have to reach and dig in and find that yourself. But it takes dedication to do all of that. It takes dedication to receive it and to grow it and to pull it from your gut when you don't have it. And it's going in with that attitude and that mindset that will make you successful over time and each and every time. So when things are hard, and it's very easy, I'm sure, if you are in the military and you have access to the mess decks and you're going out, it's like, oh, I'll wait till I get back from deployment, or I'll wait till I get back from this underway, or whatever, It's easy to say and then just like let everything go. I mean, there's a lot of times I personally have witnessed my friends that they're into health and wellness. I'm not going to say that they're dedicated, but I think it was more of a trendy thing to do in like your 20s. And so, you see them, they'll like be doing really, really well while they're dating. and they'll get in a relationship, or they're about to go on deployment, and so they're like,
get stagnant.
Yeah, I'm gonna eat everything I can before I go on deployment. I'm gonna I'm in a relationship now. I'm just chilling. Like I don't really need to do everything. So it's having the dedication to have the time to discipline yourself and to stay dedicated to what will fuel you over time. There's a reason why wealthy people and people in big name industries cut time out in their schedule every day to work out. Practically every person you can see in like millionaires or wealthy or whatever, they all have somewhere in their schedule, in their time slot, to work out, to go to the gym, to do some kind of practice that's giving back to them and creating self-care for them. And if you're not doing that on a low level, you can't expect to continue to rise if you're not feeding back into yourself.
It's almost like, it's the small goals. Like you can have the motivation to get to those goals, but then the dedication is to where you've hit a goal, but then you have a list of goals lined up. Dedication is always going to trump motivation, because you can be motivated to start something. The motivation fades. What's going to keep you going to hit the other goal? You know what I mean? There's a list of goals in life that you want to achieve. That's where dedication plays a role into it, because all right, I've hit this goal. What's next?
I think also just having a mindset of continuing to elevate and being dedicated to that mindset of improvement. You can hit a goal, and then what happens, like you said, after that? Like what happens?
You can fail. Failure's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Failure, hands down, is not a bad thing, because you fail and fail again, but then you surpass what you thought you couldn't do.
I think that plays a huge part into, like we were saying earlier, nutrition and the trial and error of nutrition, and being able to try things and know if something's working for you or not. I mean, exercise is the same way. There's a reason why there's like no standard protocol to work out. Everyone's different. Everyone's body's different. What interests people is different. But being dedicated to taking care of your body and doing what you're supposed to do it's a choice. And it's a choice that you have to continue to make every day that you get up and that you're going to the gym and that you're working out and working on yourself. One thing that I try to do for all my clients is every client doesn't need to go to the gym every day. Some clients work out 3 to 4 times a week, and that's what works for them, and they get really great results. They feel great on that, and I'm okay with that. Some people want to go to the gym every single day, and I'm like, okay, we can do that. But some of those days are going to be dedicated to really heavy strength training. Some of those days might be dedicated to mobility. Some of those days might be dedicated to just filling that time in that hour of self-practice of things that you can put back into your life. And it's creating the habit on the regular and letting that habit carry over. So you may not go to the gym every day at 6 o'clock, but on those days that you're not going to the gym, you might need a meal prep. Taking care of yourself is not a 60-minute thing that you do. Like bodybuilding, like people want this bodybuilder's physique and aesthetic, and they think that going in the gym for an hour and then leaving and not doing anything else is going to get them the same results. It's not.
My coach, one of the things that he instilled in me is the days that you don't want to go to the gym are the days that you make the best results.
I feel like you walk away with a bigger sense of pride to push yourself, show up and show out. Like even when you don't feel like it, if you show up, just find the mentality to ask yourself, am I going to go? And you say yes and you show up, then from that moment on, you've won the battle. You're there. You can, even if you do 5 minutes, even if you do half the program, even if you
showed up.
You showed up, and you're building the habit, you're building the skill of being able to say, no matter what is happening, I'm going to make the choice, and I'm going to build the mental toughness to show up. Like, there's so many times in my life that I've had opportunities and I've not wanted to go. I've been like, I'm not going to this. I don't want to be around people. I just want to sleep. You know, after those heavy training days when your brain and your central nervous system is taxed and you're just like, I just want to sleep. And it's like, I have to show up. I have to take the opportunities that I have and show up and just be a part of these opportunities, because opportunities come and go. Challenges will come and go, but if you don't show up, then you completely miss on any opportunity or any chance of winning, any chance of growth, any chance of elevation that you may have had because you made the choice not to show up. And it's just like you said, those days where the hardest days to show up are the best days, because the sense that you walk away of accomplishment just by showing up, you've accomplished something. And I bet you if you show up to the gym and you do 5 minutes, you're going to be like, well, I can do something else. You're not going to be like, I got out of bed to drive 20 minutes to the gym, or to get on the train to go to the gym or whatever, and get to the gym and do 5 minutes and leave. You're going to say, you're going to be disappointed in yourself if you walk away from the opportunity that you just let yourself into, which is another chance of growth, another chance of elevation. And so I can't agree more that with your coach. So with that being said, I kind of want to dive into the next section of things when it comes into nutrition. We kind of touched on nutrition a little bit earlier, but more specifically, like what do you do to be mindful of like what you're putting in your body? Like, what are kind of like your practices? Like, I know you've gone through bodybuilding, you've gone through coaching,
I mean, realistically, it all depends on what you're trying to do. What works for me the best is it would almost be like a modified cookie cutter diet. I was definitely one of the smaller guys on stage. I mean, I still placed, I still did very well. That's because of my conditioning. Mm-hmm. And nutrition plays a huge amount in your conditioning. Because, I mean, I have a friend who's an actual IFBB pro. He tore his ACL 6 weeks before he did one of his bodybuilding shows. And through nutrition, mm-hmm. without any cardio, he won that show overall. For me, like, I was 3 weeks out from the show, I was doing 40 minutes a day, stair step or bike.
Yeah.
40 minutes a day. That's after my workout. And then that's also at the point in time where my diet was so strenuous that I was having a decent amount of protein, but my carbs and my fats were low. And I don't know if the audience understands this, but like the human body you don't have 100% brain function without a minimum of 130 grams of carbs in your diet through the day. So you have that fogginess, you have that mentally, I'm not here, or it's almost like your head is wandering. Sometimes when I got in the car from work and I drove home, I would only remember half the drive, but I'm there the whole drive. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I mean, diet is, especially when it comes to the body, it's what you put in your body and the amount of carbs, fats, and proteins. Yeah. And what you put into your body really affects your body, your mind in general.
When you are in that low state of, first of all, you're in a low body fat state. And then second of all, you're not fueling your body. And a lot of people don't realize that being in such low body fat percentages for that amount of time without the proper amount of nutrition, your body begins to deteriorate.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
People don't realize that, like, the dudes that are on bodybuilding shows, or the dudes that are on the covers of these magazines with the shredded six-pack abs, or, when I got on stage and, I had serrations going through my abs, I had veins on my chest and veins going through my abs, stuff that, like, I've never seen before. It looks great. Like, the appeal is like, damn, how do I get like that? But people don't realize it takes such a huge effect on your body, and it's genuinely, it's not healthy. It is not healthy. I would say like the healthiest type of diet is probably like the maintainer diet. You know what I mean? Where you're maintaining what you want versus cutting down for a show. Mm-hmm.
I think you're in a, like, when you step on that stage, your body's dehydrated, you're like depleted, like you're in a brain fog, and I think not enough people shed, like in the bodybuilding world they do, but in the general public, a lot of people don't shed a light on just the mental strength it takes to go through that for weeks at a time. And like what is really easy to us becomes hard. You begin to like emotionally feel it. Your emotions are arrayed because your hormones are like, they're not balanced.
Oh my God, yes.
You're upset, you're moody, you're I just want to personally give a shout out to anyone that dates a bodybuilder or is family with a bodybuilder, because I can only imagine what it's like.
It wasn't just me competing. It was me and my girlfriend competing, and we meal prepped together, and we definitely butted heads. There were days that we probably shouldn't even talk to each other. It was like, it's the irritation of being low carbs and low fats. Because like I said, carbs is fuel to the body. Mm-hmm. You have to have a certain amount of carbs in order to have a full brain function. And when you're low carbs and low fat, so you're not supplementing that, so you're just in a foggy state all the time. Now you have two people in a foggy state all the time. So yeah, no, it's definitely we definitely got on each other's nerves. We definitely got on each other's nerves.
Yeah, but you're easily. I mean, guys, like, just think about what it feels like when you haven't eaten just in one day, or like when you're groggy in the morning and you haven't had your coffee. It's like that on 1,000. It's I can only imagine, and that's why I will always say I give credit and I give paid dues to those people that go and do bodybuilding, and it's not for everyone. And I think what we have to realize is that what people see through social media, what people see on these ads and stuff like that, like those people go through prep for those photo shoots. Those people go through prep for those shows and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, they're not walking around like that all day.
Yeah, no. They'll
Literally get an email from a company that wants to do a photo shoot with them a couple weeks in advance. So like, okay, now I got to take this diuretic, or I have to start implementing more water or more cardio into my workout. In order for me to be physically prepared, I have 3 weeks. I have 21 days. What can I do in those 21 days in order to look stage ready? Not necessarily stage ready, but photo shoot ready. And
even that, a lot of like the pro bodybuilders or like Instagram influencers and all these people, they sit and they'll do like all their promo stuff over 3 months, and then they'll chill the rest of the year and release it over time. Like these people they're not walking around like this all year round. And I will tell you, if you think you're going to walk around in like that depleted stage, your body's going to deteriorate. You may die, and
you're going to send yourself to the hospital.
Exactly. You're going to have lifelong effects that you won't be able to get back. You're going to be miserable. And I don't think, yes, looking good is fun. It's great. It feels good. But you have to have enough internal validation to say, like, I'm not going to be able to put my body through this for a long period of time. It's just like football players are in season. They train out of season. They're not the same as they are in season, or any other sport. It's like you have a seasons. That's why you go through seasons and rotate out.
You know, like professional athletes, like I'm not saying bodybuilding isn't, because we are professional athletes. Once you get to that professional level, of course. But it's like back to piggyback on nutrition, like, you know, like off season, right? You're not really focused. Yes, you're making healthier choices, but you have the opportunity, the abundance amount of time to slip off of that diet. Yeah. And you can eat a lot more of what you want versus, you know, things that enhance your performance.
Yeah.
So like when you go back onto that prep season or the football season, you're not really focused on the things that you necessarily like. Yes, you can add a little bit of the good tasting stuff, but I mean, what you put in your body is what is going to fuel your body, and you're not going to, like, for example, I'm from California, and we're like, taco trucks are the bee's knees out in California.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you walk up to a taco truck and you say, you know, you want a burrito con todo, you want everything. And you know, when you eat that burrito or when you eat those hot Cheetos or something like that, like, you feel lethargic, you feel tired, you don't feel like you have even though you just fed your body an abundance amount of energy, but it's almost like an overload. And then you sit there and you want to nap.
Yeah, your body's
versus
shutting down.
If you eat almost the same amount of food, but it's leaner protein, it's colorful veggies full of like fibrous veggies, you know, not simple sugar, like complex sugar, you know, stuff from fruit and, you know, like white rice, potatoes, sweet potatoes, berries and nuts. Like, when you consume those types of products, that's going to give you the energy boost you need for a high performance athlete.
Yeah. And to go back from that, food naturally, in its natural state, we process in our body. Now, food, our body is already the processor. So when we add a middleman and we process food, and then we eat that processed food, and then our body wants to process this food, I like to think of it as your body is now trying to sort something that went through a paper shredder, and it's getting confused.
It's a great analogy.
It's literally overloading the system, like you said, and it's shutting down. That's what happens when your metabolism doesn't know what to do with stuff, because it's processed, it shuts down. That's why on Thanksgiving, when you eat all that food, you want to take a nap, because your body has to literally shut itself down to process what's going on, because it's in system overload. So when you're making the choices to eat, understand that fueling your body is not just, oh, I need to eat something. It's, I'm fueling for the results and how I want to feel. If you want to feel like you have a lot of energy, if you want to feel like you can go to the gym and do these things, it's going to start with nutrition. Sometimes I literally will tell people, like, I'm working on your program, and I want you to start start implementing the nutritional habits and behaviors that we've been talking about now before we even get to working out, because working out is not the hard part.
It's the nutrition. I mean, you think about it this way, like if you ever self-education is so important, and even on YouTube it's super important. Side note though, like if you ever research, like for example, Rich Piana, rest in peace. He has videos based off of nutrition, and it's him, and he's frustrated at the camera. Like, he's genuinely mad, and he goes, "You guys don't understand." He's like, "I don't want to eat these 12 ounces of egg whites with no seasoning, no butter, nothing like that for the taste." He's like, "I'm eating it for the performance." Mm-hmm. And people need to implement that. When you got to understand, if you want to change something about your body, you have to change your diet. For a physique, for the cuts, the serrations, the vascularity, everything like that is what you put in your body.
So, and my philosophy is, and kind of the research behind it is, we go in the gym, and what happens is literally your muscle fibers tear apart. You're literally, the pump you're chasing, the different things is, it's the blood rushing to your muscles to begin to start the process of repairing them. So you're literally tearing your body down, and you're beginning the process of getting bigger, of building. But if you don't eat properly, there's no way in hell that you're going to grow. There's nowhere in hell you're going to see progress. Starting with being prepared is the first part. Whatever you can do to be prepared and to educate yourself is going to be huge for your success and fueling. I will say that something is better than nothing, but if you have to make that choice, make the healthiest choice. If you don't have access to natural foods or clean foods, what can you begin to start to do to create a healthier way of eating? So for me, like when I first got into working out, I had no education. I was just doing it to do it. But I started making simple, healthier choices. Instead of going for the sugary cereal in the over the fridge, I went for the yogurt, the Greek yogurt that was that higher protein. But I started to make simple choices. Now, that may not be everyone's choice. And, obviously over the years, like I have found what works for me and what doesn't work for me. And I've tailored that through multiple trial and error of diets and nutrition stuff. And you know what? As they say, and I will always say, diets don't work. They don't work for long-term success. They work for a period of time, and then they plateau, or they don't work, or it can lead to something else.
Yeah, there's a diet, and then there's health and wellness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, you can, like, especially, for example, like the mother of 3 kids who is now motivated to get into the gym, and she goes and she talks to a registered dietitian, right? She gets a diet, or she learns how to track her macros, right? Mm-hmm. And she has a set goal. Mm-hmm. Diet is to reach you to that set goal, but like health, wellness, and a lifestyle
is to maintain that goal. Yep. And it's creating those things. And what I will say is, like, great. You found something that works for you. Maintenance is probably the hardest part. I will say, like, it's just like we were talking about motivation versus dedication. You can be really motivated because we're on this new different thing and it's working and it's awesome because we're now creating these changes in our body. You know what's funny? It's like all these different fat diets.
How are you going to keep it?
Well, more than that, it's, of course they're going to work. They're going to work the first week. We guarantee you'll lose this amount of weight in a week.
Oh, yeah. All these diets are triggered to shock your body.
Exactly. They're going to shock your metabolism and create a change, but that change is going to rebound.
It's just like, all right, so intermittent fasting, for example, right? You're going to, like, all right, so say your 8-hour window to eat is between 11 a.m. and 7 p.m., right? So you're doing a
16-hour, yeah.
So you're doing a typical 16-hour fast, right? Your body for the first 3 weeks is going to be, holy shit, excuse my language, I'm not eating throughout this time. Now I need to focus on what's going on with your body. It's going to shock your body. It's going to throw you completely overboard from your typical lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And you're going to see massive results.
Yeah.
Right?
But over time, you're going to have to, I'll say this, like, over time, it's not to say that restricting the time that you eat doesn't work. It can work, but now restricting your time over very long periods of time to where it's affecting your healthy eating, your calorie restriction, to where you're not getting the proper amount of calories or macros or nutrients that you need, or maybe even affecting your social life. You can't go to dinner with your friends. You can't do anything. And it's like, how does that really balance into your health and wellness versus like, oh, I want to lose weight and look good? You know, where does the balance come in, and where do you begin to say, okay, I want to just externally look great and be aesthetic versus I want to actually take care of my my body and know what it properly needs to fuel it. Yeah. So
you have to find the happy medium.
You do. And it there's no overnight trick to doing that.
There's no simple way to doing it, and there's no get 6-pack abs in 60 days, do all these crunches, and this is what you eat. And no, it's continuous growth through education and nutrition.
If you read any article and it tells you that doing these exercises is going to get you a 6-pack, and it doesn't tell you that to eat better, then you can just throw it in the trash. Like, that's completely. Because if you're not leading with nutrition and getting the proper nutrition in, then you can kiss it goodbye. It's probably not going to last long. If you keep eating the way you're eating, you're never going to see your abs because you're going to have a layer of fat over them, or like you're not going to be lean enough. And let's be realistic. Yeah, it looks great to look great in a season. I mean, like, yeah, sure, train to look great in the hot tub, train to look great in the summer. Do it.
So, I mean, to piggyback off what you're saying again, I like that saying, piggyback. It's a good saying. But, like I said, to piggyback off of it, seasons, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, for me, for example, who I do NPC, men's physique, during the season, during prep season and stuff like that, I look the best throughout the year. But because I maintain a healthy lifestyle throughout the rest of the year, you know, I'll still have 6-pack abs, or, you know, I'll still have some vascularity on my arms or something like that. There's still a shape to me because I prefer to maintain a leaner physique. Mm-hmm. And then when I need to cut down for a show, or for a photo shoot, I can give myself a couple weeks to do it. That's just like, you know, you're thinking ahead, basically. So, I mean, it's like, you know, like I was talking about those people who take diets and then they see massive results and then they fall off their diet. Mm-hmm. They're not thinking ahead. They're thinking for the now. Mm-hmm. What about for the then?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I think, like you were saying, the mom that has 3 kids and that's trying to balance to lose weight or maybe recover back from having a baby or whatnot, it's like, yeah, that nutritional difference, that macronutrient diet or guidelines are going to get you started, but you're going to be motivated. You're going to be having a coach. You may not always have a coach, and sometimes you're going to have to choose to coach yourself, choose to have the discipline and the dedication to say, this is not the best choice long-term or feeling. It's like, I can't say how many people I see that want to be like these awesome athletes and these high performers or lift really heavy, but you're going out every weekend and you're drinking and like getting trashed and eating.
I mean, alcohol kills muscles, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's like, and especially beer. Beer is full of empty carbs and calories.
It literally ruins protein synthesis. In your recovery time, it makes it longer, and it literally shoots. You're shooting yourself in the foot. Like you're literally.
And don't get me wrong, you know, every so often I'll go out and I'll occasionally have a beer or something like that.
I mean, yeah.
But there's a huge difference between having a beer with the boys or having a glass of wine over dinner versus
every
raging.
Weekend. Yeah, every weekend getting trashed,
you know what I mean?
And partying. And I think one thing that does frustrate me is the people that have really great bodies, and like a lot of times you see it on Instagram. You see people that look good, and then they're club promoters. And it's like, you promote health and wellness this day, but you're promoting a club every weekend. It's like, do those things really coincide really well? And like, don't get me wrong.
That's a businessman right there.
Yeah, some people will go out and like to party and like to hang out and like to dance and stuff like that, and they don't drink. And like me, sometimes like I will go out with my friends and do stuff, but I won't drink. Or I have a limit of what I will drink, and it's not every weekend. It may be like once a month or once every like couple of weeks or 2 months, whatever. But me personally, it's knowing that if I want to go in and practice what I preach, if I want to go in and know that this next session, I'm going to feel it. I'm not going to feel it just tomorrow.
You have to be a testimony of what you're talking about.
And the thing is, you're not just going to feel it that one day. Alcohol takes time.
At least a week to recover from that.
It takes time, and it creates inflammation in your body. So you're going to look puffy. You're not going to feel great the next day. You're going to be still dragging maybe the second day, and you're maybe just going to be starting to get adjusted 2 to 3 days later, and still alcohol truly hasn't funneled all the way through your system. So then that doesn't take into account any food that you poor decisions and nutrition that you made during that night. So it's like, I'm not saying don't drink. I'm not saying
don't be a weekend rager or a weekday warrior. It's a lifestyle. It's
weekday warrior. I never.
People really need to understand, like, when, especially, and educate themselves. I'm telling you guys, like, look at blogs, read books. Look at YouTube. Like, education, self-education is one of the greatest wealths that you can have in this world, and like, it's just going out and actually learning it yourself, because you hear the opinions of other people, but now you know the facts, right? Yeah. Self-education. And I just want to emphasize that people, self-education. I personally, anyone that's listening that is having trouble with creating those habits, or making those, not creating habits, but making the lifestyle changes, I will say it is hard to create the change and to begin to build that dedication and the contemplation stage. And it's like, well, where do I go? Where do I start? And it can feel overwhelming. Well, one of the first steps is creating small steps and creating small wins. And it's like, if I can challenge you to, maybe if you know you're going to go out and party this weekend, maybe you're not going to stop partying every weekend because it's one of your habits that you have now. But can you like cut back on drinking? Maybe cut in half the drinks that you're drinking, maybe 2 less drinks, maybe water in between those drinks. Creating some kind of small step to where you're stepping back from that and stepping closer to where you want to be will get you there. Yeah. And that will begin to build the habits of being more cautious of what you're putting in your body, being more aware of what you're doing to your body and the decisions that you're making, and you will see the improvements from that. Literally, if you're someone that drinks constantly and you want to see a change, if you literally cut back on drinking, you'll see a change within 2 weeks. I mean, this is a direct reflection to almost the entire conversation based off of motivation over dedication, right? Mm-hmm. Hands down. Like, if you get motivated to cut back on a drink or so, it becomes a habit. You form dedication. Now you're dedicated to, like, all right, I'm not going to have 5. I'm going to have 2. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? My friends make fun of me because when we go, like the other day, we went out to the club, and I had a sugar-free Red Bull and a glass of water while at the club. And it's because I have goals in mind. Mm-hmm. And in order for me to continue those goals, I have to put aside things that I might necessarily not want to do, because don't get me wrong, I would have loved to have a cold Corona Extra. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm like, boom, I'm going to be in the gym tomorrow creating a better me. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's so important, is to, it's like motivation, but it's like its evil twin sister. It's like, mm-hmm. when you get hyped to do something, because like, it's like, oh, I'm super excited to go to this party and da-da-da. It's like a craze, and you lose sight of all what your hard work has done, or the goals that you've had, or the things that you really want to accomplish. And that's like completely gone out your window. And it's like, I really feel like you begin to see the change not only in yourself, but in your mindset. The change in your physical appearance, but also in your mindset when you start to make the first decision of saying, I'm going to choose to do this differently. And of course, no matter where you change, no matter what kind of change you create, no matter what you do, you're going to get ridiculed at some point. You can expect it. But those same people that sit there and make fun of you for choosing a nutrient-dense plate of food or a salad, or maybe a high source of protein rather than the fried source, whatever it is, they're the same people that in a few weeks, in a few years, in a few months, whatever it may be, are going to be asking for your help.
Exactly. And I mean, that plays a role into the saying, if you surround yourself with 5 sheep, what's going to happen? Eventually, you're going to become the 6th sheep.
Yeah.
But if you surround yourself with 5 wolves, what's going to happen?
You're going to become a wolf.
You're going to become a wolf.
Yeah.
Right? So are you going to be the sheep or are you going to be the wolf?
Yeah. And I think that goes back to what we were talking about earlier, is the sense of community. Mm-hmm. Where can you find that sense of community?
You're going to, like at the end of the day, you might lose some friends. You may fall off with a couple people, not necessarily saying, ruin the friendship, but, you may not associate with them as much.
Yeah.
But because of where you're going and how to get to where you're going, things need to change.
Yeah. And it I think it's harder for people that are on the same line. And like this personally is a reason why I'm very selective in dating and choosing, because it's like,
oh, hands down. Like I said, me and my girl, we prep together, which not the greatest idea. I feel like we should probably have different on and off seasons.
Yeah.
That way, we can maintain a social life together and apart.
Yeah.
I would not ever date, me personally, and I'm not ridiculing any women, but outside of, I wouldn't per se the gym, but health and wellness.
Yeah.
Because, that's one thing. We go to the gym together. We don't necessarily work out together. We're on different programs and stuff like that. And we might not necessarily eat the same thing because our bodies are obviously different.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm surrounding myself with someone who shares that passion. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Regardless if it's her or if it's someone else.
Yeah. It's like, it's like 2 artists dating, mm-hmm. Or 2 musicians dating, 2 lawyers, or two people that work in law. A lot of times you see a lot of nurses like end up with other people in the medical field because that's where you spend a lot of your time. Why do you think people always meet people where they work? There's like a statistic where it's like, I don't remember exactly what it is, but you're more likely to end up with someone that's in your same field or your same job because of how long people typically spend in their workplace or in what they do, in their passion. So being selective about who you're choosing to be around you. It's not to be shallow. It's not to be stuck up or anything like that. It's really just choosing someone that has the same values as you, has the same views as you, and wants to continue to see you grow in whatever that field is. So if you're a video gamer and you date another video gamer, go for you. It's not to say that you can't date outside of that. No way at all am I saying that. But what I'm saying is like,
but
it's
at
easier
the same time,
as a support system.
Yes, not only as a support system, but like, all right, so say I date outside of the gym. And it's not just me, like you guys can ridicule me if you want. Say I date outside of the gym. I have to put, like at the end of the day, it might sound selfish, but you're the only you. And you are realistically the most important person in your life, right? Mm-hmm. So I have these goals, right? And I have the motivation and the dedication in order to reach my goals. Being with someone who doesn't share that passion, right? I have the chance to fall off. Mm-hmm. And I have the chance of slipping down the slope that I've worked so hard in order to get to. Because now I'm like, all right, well, they're not going to the gym because they don't go to the gym. Mm-hmm. Or, like, oh, we can stay home or hang out. Or they want to go out and do something, mm-hmm. right? Now I went from going to the gym 5-6 times a week to 2 or 3.
Yeah. And it's because you ultimately...
And what do you do when you go out? You go out, you eat.
Yeah.
You're gone for a certain amount of hours. You miss those nutrition time windows that you should be.
It makes it easier to follow the routine and the habits that you've created when you find someone that is along the lines of what you do. And I think where this comes into play is... at some point in your life, you're going to have to make sacrifices to create the life that you want. Now, I think when you have a community or people that support the same thing you do, you have to make less sacrifices of cutting those people out or maybe necessarily moving your schedule to hang out with those people or be around those people, because a lot of the things that you do are shared. Now, when you're with someone that, or your support system is different, it can create tension. It can create having to be very flexible in your schedules. And this is what I will say. At the end of the day, you have to create sacrifices, and you have to choose what you want to sacrifice for. So if that person that you love is the most important thing to you, then I totally get it. I'm not going to downplay that. But if your goal is something different, then, and you are single, it may be better for you to find a support system or find someone or date someone that is in the same field as you. So I'm not knocking anyone's love life. People, don't come after me. I'm single and I'm happy contently. But all I'm going to say is building a sense of community, building a sense of support, and having those people that are close to you support you through that is going to completely and phenomenally project you forward to where you should be going with that goal or that passion that you're following. So I did want to get into the last part of the podcast, which is the rapid fire questions. You don't know what the questions are. All you know is that you got to answer them as fast as possible.
All right, here we go.
So question 1, where can our listeners find you, reach you? Instagram, Twitter, website, Facebook?
Social media wise, I would say Instagram. Username sounds cocky, but I'm not. I'm humble. Mr. _ Austin the Great.
Mr. _ Austin the Great. You guys heard it, okay?
Yeah, AUSTIN the Great.
Awesome. Question number 2, who's your favorite bodybuilder?
I would say Steve Cook.
I love the soldier.
Yeah, I'd say Steve Cook. I mean, he hands down is a very inspirational guy. He comes from a bodybuilding background. He was the face of bodybuilding.com for a long time, and now he's into functional fitness. He is a jack of all trades to me, and I just think that, not only is he inspirational, but he's very, very educated. Mm-hmm. And I would say anybody who's looking to find some really good education, follow his lifetime story on YouTube. Yeah.
He has a great YouTube, and I love that he's evolved.
No,
a lot of people, when people begin to change, they get ridiculed and they're like, "Oh, you're not bodybuilding." Like, I think he realized, and even when he was dating Courtney King, and I believe at some point she had gut issues because of how long she had been doing bodybuilding, and I think that's when, I don't know if that's what caused the change. I can't speak for anyone, but over time I've just seen him evolved, and I love that he's really based lifestyle.
Yeah, he talks in some of it, because he does podcasts and stuff like that. He does a day in the life of Steve Cook, but I really suggest you guys taking a look at him. But he talks about how bodybuilding is a temporary profession, because you can't put your body through that much strenuous exposure to heavy weightlifting, calorie dense diets for long periods of time without hurting yourself. Mm-hmm. So that's another thing that I really, I appreciate about him. Yeah. Self-value.
Before we move to the next question, I will say his buddy, Jacob Hutton, I love Jacob Hutton because this dude can lift mad weight. He can move like crazy. This dude can do splits. And this dude he literally, I think he calls himself the white gorilla. This dude is huge. It's crazy. Check them both out. I love them both. I literally aspire to do a split like Jacob Hutton. So if I can do that, you guys, I'll post it up. Number 3, what is a piece of advice you would give yourself a year ago?
Slow things down. Honestly, in life and in the gym, you're competing with yourself, and you're literally in there, like I said, in life and in the gym, to form the best you. Mm-hmm. And trust the process. Really slow things down and trust the process. That's in life, that's relationships, nutrition, work related. It's just slow things down, trust the process, because if you do everything the correct way, results are going to come.
As someone that's only 25, I will say this. I was a person that wanted to be successful, and that's the only thing that was on my mind. And I look back at times of where I could have truly enjoyed life, and I was like you said, I wasn't slowing it down. I wasn't trusting the process. I was trying to push, improve, and take time to enjoy the moments that you have. Have gratitude to be thankful for the opportunities that you do and the experiences that you do, and make the fullest of them rather than just trying to dip and dot to the next dot, So I agree with that. Number 4, what is your one gym bag essential? The one thing you cannot live without when you walk into the gym?
Oh, that's a good one.
You only get one. This is the hardest one for everyone.
Is it one of those questions that I will turn around and leave the gym if I don't have it?
Yes.
Oh. Probably my cell phone. Like I would say headphones because that's always a shitty workout, but like my cell phone. Like I don't mean to sound like superficial or anything like that, but like checking the time,
just
being able to play music on my on my headphones, stuff like that. I just feel like it's such a life commodity. Or my gallon. Like, it's so hard to just choose one because I mean, if the cell phone was out of the question, it'd be headphones or my gallon.
You only got one. You only get your cell phone. I can understand the benefit of the cell phone. I will say, like, I can go without my cell phone in the gym. And like a period of time, like I was just like, I took down all my social media and took down everything, and I just wanted to reconnect with myself. So I wasn't too much aware of my cell phone, but I did spend a lot of time. Like I would work out, and then like I would like research stuff, like in between, and like just like question stuff. And
same thing.
Yeah, so it's like a lot of people. It's not always about social media. Sometimes it's about, hey, those Instagram posts that you guys like didn't make themselves in the gym. The research that I do isn't always just sitting down at a desk, so it's just actively being there. And I think being connected is not always a bad thing. So I agree. 5. What was the last song you listened to? You can't lie either.
It's a country song. It's Speechless. I think it's by Dylan Scott.
You guys heard it here.
Yeah, is on the radio in the car.
Is that in your guest playlist?
No, it's not. But
I'm gonna add it to it.
No, I'm a huge country fan. I don't really listen to country while I work out. It's probably primary like indie rock or hip hop. Okay. Like I'm a West Coast boy, so I listened to Kendrick Lamar before people knew who Kendrick Lamar was. So
he's a king. 6. What is next for you? Like, what do you foresee coming in, let's say 2019, yeah? That's right around the corner.
2019 is a big year. I have a lot of plans for 2019. I want to do at least 2 more bodybuilding shows. My goal is, so I placed 5th at my last show in Class C, and it was an open division. NPC only recognizes open division. A lot of people don't know that. I did novice, true novice, and armed forces too, and I placed in all of those too. First call-outs, I did really well, especially for my first show. But open division is the only one that NPC recognizes, and if you place top 2 in an open division, you get nationally qualified. Nationally qualified is where you can go to a national show to compete for your pro card. And right now, I don't plan on doing another show until like the springtime, maybe the end of April, because I want to build. One of the things that the judges told me is I need to focus on my upper chest. Mm-hmm. And they said like my back looked good, shoulders were good, conditioning. I mean, abs are easy. It's in the kitchen, like I said, but I needed to focus on my upper chest. So that's my goal right now is I want to get nationally qualified. So that's one of the big things for 2019 is I want to get nationally qualified, whether it's going to be the next show or the show after that. And then we'll see where it goes from there. A lot of other things is I will be, exiting the military in April. It's a choice that I made. To me, the military was a stepping stone, and now I can go get a really good education. I plan on either attending Georgia State or Georgia Tech in the fall for their physical therapy program. Awesome. I know I like to talk about nutrition and stuff like that, but like the understanding about the joints in the body and how everything moves and connects, and nutrition plays a good aspect in that too. It just intrigues me. And I want to be able to promote that and just show people mobilization and show people how to self-heal and, fix themselves, basically. Yeah. And then one that I haven't even really told my family about, but a couple Fridays ago, I've been interviewing with this company since like August. And I can't release the name of the show, but I just got cast for a new reality TV show that is starring this summertime.
Awesome. Well, you guys, when he blows up, just know he sat down with me, little old me. Well, I wish you all the best. I think you're going to do well. I think you have a good head on your shoulders, and I think the reality TV is going to be fun. I think the physical therapy is hugely important. I wish more people put that into everyday practice, prehab, rather than rehabbing. So I'm all here for it, and I'll know you're dedicated, so you'll crush those bodybuilding goals. All here for it, man. 7. This is a peculiar question. Pen, pencil, or keyboard?
Pen.
Okay.
Just because being in the military, they almost it's funny that you say that because pen is a dotted line, right? It's permanent.
Yeah.
You can't take pen back. You can fucking you can
It's
one line
okay.
it.
It's okay.
You can one line it. I swear like a sailor because I'm a sailor. You can one line it, but it's still there.
Yeah.
So I like pen.
I like it. So
Permanent.
a lot of people...
There's a reason behind pen too, because like keyboard you can do backspace. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pencil, you turn the thing around and erase it. Pen is permanent.
So it's funny because...
Do it right the first time.
A lot of people don't know my philosophy behind that question, and I usually don't tell it, but I mean, like, we're a couple episodes in now, but it's very interesting because I asked a lot of different people that question, but my philosophy behind pen, pencil, or paper is, pen, pencil, or keyboard is, pen is permanent.
Really?
It's exactly it. It's pen is permanent. So I think a lot of times people who will choose pen typically calculate their decisions and then make them, and then they grow from them and they keep moving. They don't regret it. They don't try to take it back.
Yeah, especially if you're trying to write a letter and you're using a pen, right? You're going to think about what you wrote. And then you're going to think about it, you're going to write half of it, and then you're going to rethink exactly what you just thought as a mouthful before you finish that sentence.
Yeah.
Because you can't cross it out, or you can cross it out, but you can't erase it, you can't backspace it.
Yeah.
It's there.
So then going forward from that, pencil, I usually say is like someone that maybe they don't mind having to retract their steps to learn from them steps and redraw, like to repeat processes to be more creative or to be more. I think there's benefits in each one of them. And so then keyboard is, I think there's a lot of people that maybe relate more on a bigger social basis and want to share what they create. So that's kind of like, it's deeper into it, but that's kind of like my philosophy with pen, pencil, or keyboard. So I'm a pen guy as well. So glad we can relate. Number 8, your biggest life lesson so far.
I would say trust your gut. Just for the simple fact that a lot of people fight themselves when it comes to this is going to be a fitness oriented question or answer, and then it's not. You know, it's a life. You know, like health and wellness. So trust your gut, because a lot of times you fight yourself. You fight your own mind especially with emotions and feelings. When something doesn't work and you know that it's broken,
mm-hmm.
but you have the feelings and emotions thinking that everything's fine when it's not fine, and it's blatantly in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Trust it. I mean, it's like for the fitness aspect of that, right? Like, there's just like I'm gonna jump back into like your coach, right? Trust your coach, because that he or she is playing that role as your gut. Because when you go in there and they're like, hey, this is what you need to do, this is how you need to do it, and you're like, well, I can neglect this, or I can back away from my diet in this aspect for a couple of days or something like that, you're not going to see the result that he or she knows that they can put you to, mm-hmm. because you didn't have that trust.
Mm-hmm.
So you need, have that trust. Like,
trust your gut.
Trust your gut.
I agree. I think one thing
if something's gonna work, if it's meant to be, it will be. So.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in that. I think that goes back to what you were saying about what you would have gave yourself a year ago. Advice is take your time. I think there's a lot of times where we know that we're rushing into things and we don't trust our intuition. Number 9, and then we have number 10. Number 9 is what makes you smile.
Cat videos.
I was gonna say, I knew it.
No. Making plans makes me smile. I would say that's the biggest thing, is not necessarily setting goals, and this is not going to be fitness oriented, it's making plans in life, right? Because life happens while you make plans. People don't realize that. You make plans for a specific date in the future, and life happens until you reach those plans. You know what I mean? So smile because life's going to happen before you hit those plans, and then smile because you're going to have a badass time while you're going through with those plans.
Yeah.
Think about it, like, I'm a big Harry Potter nerd, right? So I'm making plans to go to Harry Potter World, right? So life's going to happen while I wait to go to Harry Potter World, and then I'm going to have a blast at Harry Potter World.
Yeah.
Right?
I like that. Like,
I'm a Ravenclaw, like, I'm in there.
I don't know what I am. This is going to be really bad when I say this, and you're probably, like, going to reject me. Oh, wow, he has a tattoo, you guys. Go look on his Instagram. I'm sure you could find it there. I have never watched any of the Harry Potters or read any of the books.
Oh, this podcast is over. No.
I get that every time. It's okay. But I really do like that because going back to something else I had said before is work while you wait.
Yeah.
So, like, you make plans and you're excited, but, like, you still got to work. You still got to put in the time. Life is still happening, like you said, and you still got to be diligent.
Whether it's a positive thing or a negative thing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's
and that also plays into effect. Take your time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because time is there. Time is not going to change. Time is not going to go faster. It's not going to go slower. But I think where we fail to realize is that when we're in moments, we fail to be aware. And if you guys go back to last week's podcast on meditation, where it's talking about deep breathing and how sometimes you need to reset and just take a few deep breaths to realize that you're in the moment and be a part of that moment.
Or like, say for example, you're flustered at work or in a relationship, you got to talk to your boss, or you got to do something, right? And it's like, you got to do it now. You got to do it now while it's fresh, but your mind hasn't been at rest yet. So sleep on it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was literally about to finish what you're saying. It's like, there's a reason why people say, let me sleep on it. Don't be so quick to, like, hop into things. Like, if it's something that's meant to work out or be lifelong, it'll be. But give
like
it time.
that country song, if it's meant to be, it will be.
If it's meant to be, let it be. Let it. Okay, this is like, they're going to be tired of me singing. I think I sing every week on this podcast. Last question. Favorite exercise of all time?
Ooh. I would say reverse grip, bent over front rows.
Oh, I like those. I like those. Those are a back builder.
Yes. Reverse grip, for the simple fact, is you can't flare your elbows when your hands are reversed. Your elbows are going to be tucked in the whole time, so you're getting a hard pinch. And I like to do them Kai Green style. If you guys don't know who Kai Green is, he is a monster, and he's a very huge, humble individual, straight out of New York, NYC. He puts the ball on the ground after every rep. He doesn't lean forward and like let it rock to fully extend his arms. He stays in that squat position, lifts that bar up to his sternum, and then he puts it back on the ground. So not only is he exercising his back, which that exercise is based off of a back workout, but he's stretching and pulling on his hamstrings and his calves the entire workout because he maintains that deadlift stance.
I think that is a great exercise. Like, yeah, if you want to get a bigger back, but like you were saying, just stability, hamstring length, calves. It's literally you're having to stabilize your whole body to be in that position. So you're getting great core work, you're getting great isolation in those different parts of your body, as well as that movement. A perfect isolation and squeeze in your back. So I love it. All right, Austin Petty, thank you so much for being on the Flex Project. I appreciate you for taking the time to be here to talk about nutrition, talk about coaching, talk about dedication, motivation, just your personal experiences. Has been awesome. I appreciate you, man.
No, thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
It's a great opportunity.